Daf Yomi, Tractate Avodah Zarah, page 49, starting at the bottom of 48b. Bottom of the page, very bottom, last few words. The Gemara adds, and that which Rabbi Yehuda says, that Rav says, is also taught in a Braita. Rabbi Yossi concedes. She'im, top of 49a. She'im, that if one planted an orla nut, or sank the shoot of an orla tree into the ground, or grafted an orla tree, that which grows as a result is permitted. Sadeh tizra para tishachet v'tanya idach sadeh tavor para tirzeh. And if you would say that this is not difficult, as Rabbi Yossi distinguishes between items that are forbidden due to other prohibitions and items that are forbidden due to idol worship, does he indeed distinguish in this manner? But isn't it taught that with regard to a field that was fertilized with dung, that came from an animal used in idol worship, and similarly with regard to a cow that was fattened with vetches used in idol worship, there are opposing opinions. It is taught in one braita that the field may be sown in the normal manner, and the cow may be slaughtered and eaten. And it is taught in another braita that the field should be left fallow and the cow should be made lean until the effects of the dung or vetches have passed. Okay. I don't see why it would become lean. I mean, it's fattened. You have to let it go through a process of making it not fattened anymore. Okay, my love. Rabbi Yossi v'harabanan. No, Rabbi Eliezer v'harabanan. What, is it not that this brisa that rules leniently is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, who holds that when both permitted and forbidden items contribute to a result, the result is permitted? And that braita that rules stringently is in accordance with the opinion of the rabbis? If so, it is clear that Rabbi Yossi does not distinguish between other prohibitions and idol worship, as in this case of idol worship. He still permits the result of permitted and forbidden causes. The Gemara answers, no. These braita do not reflect the opinions of Rabbi Yossi and the rabbis. Rather, this braita is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer, and that braita is in accordance with the opinion of the rabbis who disagree with him. Hi, Rabbi Eliezer v'Rabbanon. The Gemara asks, which dispute between Rabbi Eliezer and the rabbis is referred to here? If we say that it is the dispute between Rabbi Eliezer and the rabbis with regard to the leaven, that dispute does not necessarily correspond to the controversy between these two braitot. Ditnan Se'ol shel chulin v'shel truba shenaflu tzarich l'yisod v'lo mezeh kedei lachmetz v'lo mezeh kedei lachmetz v'nitztalpu v'chimzuhu. As we learned in the Mishnah, orla, true leaven, in the case of non-sacred leaven and truma, leaven that fell into a non-sacred batch of dough, and this one alone was not potent enough to cause the dough to become leavened, and that one alone was not potent enough to cause the dough to become leavened, and they combined and caused the dough to become leavened. There is a dispute as to whether this dough has the status of truma and is therefore forbidden to non-priests, or whether it has the status of non-sacred bread. Rabbi Eliezer Omer אחר האחרון אני בא, מבחכמים אומרים, בין שנפל איסור לכתחילה, בין שנפל איסור בסוף, אינו אסור עד שיהיה בו כדי לחמץ. Rabbi Eliezer says, I follow the final element that fell into the dough. If the truma fell last, the dough is forbidden to non-priests, and the rabbis say whether the forbidden item, meaning the truma, fell in first or whether the forbidden item fell in last, the dough is not forbidden unless there is enough of the forbidden leaven alone to cause the dough to become leavened. And Abaye says, Rabbi Eliezer taught, that when the permitted leaven fell in last, the mixture is permitted only in a case where one first removed the forbidden leaven before the permitted leaven fell into the dough and made it rise. But if one did not first remove the forbidden leaven, the dough is forbidden even if the permitted leaven fell in last. Apparently, Rabbi Eliezer holds that when both permitted and forbidden leaven cause dough to become leavened, the dough is forbidden. וממאי דתלמיד רבי אליעזר כבאי, דאו בתלמיד אליעזר, משום ליח האחרון אני בא. יגמר באיסורה אסורה, וגמר בתרא מותרים. בין סלקי ובין לא סלקי. The Gemara rejects this interpretation, but from where is it apparent that the reason for the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer is in accordance with Abaye's explanation? Perhaps. The reason for the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer is, as he says explicitly, I follow the final element. If the dough's leavening is completed by the forbidden item, it is forbidden. And if it is completed by the permitted item, it is permitted. And this is the halakha, whether one removed the forbidden item or whether one did not remove the forbidden item. Accordingly, Rabbi Eliezer does not necessarily hold that when both a forbidden and a permitted item contribute to a result, the result is forbidden. Ela Rabbi Eliezer v'Rabbanan de'etzim. Rather, the two conflicting brightot cited with regard to a field fertilized with dung used in idol worship can be attributed in accordance with the opinions of Rabbi Eliezer and the rabbis with regard to wood from an Asherah tree. Ditna not al hemeno etzim asur bahano. Hisikba satano Chadash yutatz. Yashan yutzan. Eva bo et hapat. Esura behana. As we learned in the Mishnah 49b, if one took wood from an Asherah, it is prohibited to derive benefit from it in a case where one kindled a fire in an oven with the wood, if it is a new oven, and by kindling the fire, he hardened the oven and made it stronger for use in the future, then the oven must be shattered. Since forbidden items were used in the process of forming the oven, one may not derive benefit from the use of the forbidden items. But if it is an old oven, it may be cooled. It is prohibited to use the oven only while it is still hot. If one bakes bread with wood from the Asherah, wood from the Asherah's fuel, it is prohibited to derive benefit from the bread. If this bread was intermingled with other bread, it is prohibited to derive benefit from all the bread. Rabbi Eliezer says one may take the benefit and cast it to the Dead Sea. In other words, one is not required to destroy the bread. Instead, one should designate money equal in value to the wood that he used from the Yehoshua, and he should destroy this money to offset the benefit he derived from the forbidden wood. The rabbi said to him, there is no monetary redemption for objects that are forbidden due to idol worship. Once the bread becomes forbidden, it cannot be redeemed by having the value of the forbidden wood cast into the Dead Sea. In any event, Rabbi Eliezer apparently holds that the result of both forbidden and permitted causes is forbidden, as the bread was baked with both forbidden fuel, meaning the wood from the Asherah, and the permitted oven. The Gemara asks, if the two conflicting Baitot cited with regard to a field fertilized with dung used in idol worship are attributed in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer and the rabbis, if this is referring to Rabbi Eliezer's statement with regard to bread baked in an oven that was heated with fuel from the Asherah, then who are the rabbis who disagree with Rabbi Eliezer, to whom the other bread is attributed? If we say that the references to the rabbis who disagree with Rabbi Eliezer with regard to bread baked with wood from an Asherah, this cannot be, as they are even more stringent than Rabbi Eliezer with regard to this matter. Not only do they deem bread that was baked with both forbidden and permitted fuel to be forbidden, but they require it to be destroyed and not redeemed. In other words, with regard to the status of the bread, there is no dispute. All agreed that it is forbidden. Therefore, both opinions are in accordance with the Brayta that prohibits the result of both forbidden and permitted causes. The references, rather, to the rabbis who disagree with Rabbi Eliezer with regard to Truma, leaven that mixed with non-sacred leaven, as the rabbis permit the mixture as long as the Truma leaven was not potent enough to cause it to rise. The more lenient of the two Braytot cannot be attributed in accordance with this opinion either, as say that you heard that these rabbis are lenient with regard to the case of leaven. Does that mean that they are lenient with regard to cases involving items of idol worship? As a result of this question, the Gemara retracts its suggestion of Yossi's opinion, and the Mishnah is based on the opinion as the result caused by both permitted and forbidden items is forbidden. Okay, and then it retracts its suggestion that Rabbi Yossi's opinion is that the Mishnah is based on the opinion that a result caused by both permitted and forbidden items is forbidden. Rather, Rabbi Yossi holds that the result is permitted, as is evident from the case of the ground up and dispersed objects of idol worship, and from the case of a planted or not. Therefore, the Brayta can actually be attributed as follows: this Brayta that permits the use of the field is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, and that Brayta that prohibits its use is in accordance with the opinion of the rabbis. Rabbi Yossi as for the Mishnah, which seems to indicate that Rabbi Yossi holds that when a result is caused by both permitted and forbidden items is forbidden. And the Gemara explains that Rabbi Yossi was not expressing his own opinion. Rather, when he said that one may not plant vegetables under an Asherah even during the rainy season, he said so in accordance with the statement of the rabbis as a result a result caused by both permitted and forbidden items is forbidden. Rabbi Yossi said to them, according to my own opinion, when both this and that, when both permitted and forbidden items contribute to a result, the result is permitted. It is therefore permitted to plant vegetables under an Asherah tree during all seasons. Okay. לזכות אמריתו זה וזה גוירם עשו odoli mihat af yerakot yod gesham. But according to your opinion, as you say, that when both this and that cause a result is prohibited, as seen from your ruling that it is prohibited to plant an Asherah during the summer because of the positive effect on Asherah's tree, you shall concede to me, in any event, that planting the vegetable during the rainy season, so there is no shade, is prohibited because they are fertilized by the fallen foliage. The Gemara asks, and how would the rabbis reply to Rabbi Yossi's point? The Gemara answers, they would reply in accordance with the aforementioned statement that Rav Mari, the son of Kahana, says, 48b, that when a certain activity causes both a benefit and a greater or equal loss, it is not rendered as a benefit. Here, the positive effect on the plant from the tree's foliage is offset by the fact that its shade prevents rainwater from reaching the plant. Therefore, there is no overall benefit gained from the Asherah. The rabbis permit planting underneath it in the winter. Amar Yehuda Shmuel Alach al Yossi Ginta the Izdabat Birvala Evad Zarah Shalach Rak Amram Kamed Rav Yosef Amar Le Achi Amar Yehuda Amar Shmuel Halacha Rabbi Yossi. The Gemara concludes that Rabbi Yehuda says, Shmuel says, the halacha is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. The Gemara recounts an incident supporting this ruling. There was a certain garden that was fertilized with dung that came from an animal used in idol worship. Rav Amram sent a query back to Rabbi Yosef, asking him what the halacha is in such a case. Rabbi Yosef said to him that it is what Rabbi Yehuda says, that Shmuel says, the halacha is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. The produce of the garden is therefore permitted. And now, actually, we're leaving off with finishing this Amud, and we'll start the next Amud, God willing, in the next video.